Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play.
Hello everyone, welcome to Anointed Lady TV, the home of news and politics. If it is your first time in this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you like what we do on this channel, hit on the subscribe button, also put on the notification bell so you'll be notified by YouTube anytime we drop a new video. And if you are returning subscribers, thank you very much for always coming back to watch our videos. On this platform, we drop videos every day and we react to every video that come our way. And on this very video, I will be watching with you. And after watching, let's go to the comment section and drop our opinion constructively. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible. See you next time in my next video.
And the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the appeals of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and the Labour Party, while it also dismissed that of the Allied People Movement, APM, all of which are seeking to dismiss the Elections Court's decision affirming Bola Tinubu and the country's elected president. At the moment, we still know that several parties are still in court, still challenging the mandate that has been given to the president right now, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we have the PDP and also the APM, like we actually mentioned. And so in a moment, we'll be hoping to join Jeffrey Oshamoge to shed more light on the happenings today, because we know they're still contending that in court, and the Supreme Court has a final verdict, and we will be able to give the final verdict and actually put a seal on this particular issue moving forward.
That's right. Now, of course, you know, with the, shall I call it the smoking gun being the admission of new evidence from the Atiku camp, you know, it's no longer sort of business as usual. It's no longer as potentially predictable as it could have been, because I think everybody's awaiting to see how much, if any, impact at all the disclosures from Chicago University will have on this process. So I think it's going to be, you know, a little bit more exciting than just, you know, an appeal from the initial proceedings from the Presidential Tribunal. But we're going to cross over now to Abuja, where Godfrey is joining us. He's just outside the Supreme Court. And, of course, proceedings have been ongoing. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what the atmosphere is just at the Supreme Court in Abuja, Godfrey?
Yes, good afternoon. There's been a buzz at the Supreme Court premises. Of course, in the road leading to the Supreme Court itself was cordoned off. Miles and miles of roads were cordoned off to traffic and to even pedestrians for most parts of the morning during the hearing of the appeals today. Of course, there's so much stakes on these particular case, as it were. So the matter held today, and of course the 7-member justice panel headed by Justice Inyang Okoro has now reserved ruling to a date to be communicated to all parties in the suit. Of course, the standout issue in today's proceeding is that of the counsel of Atiku Abubakar, Chris Uche, formally or orally applying to the court to allow the tendering of the academic records of the Chicago State University belonging to President Bola Tinubu. Of course, you know, Atiku Abubakar has come in with another angle, another twist in his case, seeking to have the president removed from office on grounds of forgery of the document which he submitted to INEC in the lead up to his running for Nigeria's highest office. Today the matter came up, and the motion or the application was heard by the court, and the court stated in clear terms that this particular angle to Atiku's case boils down to the issue of national interest, and he urged Chris Uche to be very sure of what he's approaching the court for. And he also asked him, the court also asked him to give some clarity on why he thinks it has jurisdiction to hear this fresh evidence 180 days after this matter had been heard at the Presidential Election Petition Court. Chris Uche, his own submission in that respect as a response was that hearing of cases in the US is different from how it's obtainable in Commonwealth countries. And says that of the US shouldn't be, compared, shouldn't be, compared to that of what is obtainable in Nigeria. Therefore, so there's nothing wrong in having this matter basically heard in the court, because the angle from which the counsel to Bola Tinubu and the APC had come from was that this particular deposition from the Chicago State University shouldn't be allowed here in the Nigerian court. So he said, this is not how things should be done. Basically, he has some sufficient grounds to want to have Tinubu disqualified on grounds of forgery. As to whether the court has jurisdiction, he brought up the issue of Order 2, Rule 12 of the Supreme Court rules, which it says grants him a window of opportunity to bring in a fresh evidence in this context. And then that's that of the PDP. And then Labour Party too came up with his own petition, with his own appeal, which of course is a follow-up on what transpired at the Presidential Election Petition Court. That aside, the APM, of course, was a dramatic aspect of it. The APM, you recall, they are contesting the ticket of Bola Tinubu on grounds of double nomination of his then running mate, Kashim Shettima, whom they accuse of double nomination. So the court said it was so angered by the fact that APM's case is agitating, they're using the word of the court, that it is agitating that the Supreme Court, APM's counsel, Chukwuma Ome, will come into the court with the same case that it had attended to, it had determined before now. You recall the PDP some time ago brought a similar case challenging Kashim Shettima on grounds of double nomination. The Supreme Court dismissed that, and it says, in this instant case, says it cannot overrule itself. It cannot sit on appeal of its own decision, and therefore said APM's case was unmeritorious, vexatious in fact, and it was due to be dismissed. And of course, the lawyer subsequently, the counsel subsequently taking a hint from the apex court, withdrew the appeal and was subsequently dismissed. That is more like a summary of what happened at the Supreme Court today.
All right, since you are the Supreme Court, and let me just take you up on the latest development. We know that the judges in the Supreme Court have dropped to an all-time low of 10, as Justice Datijo Mohammed has actually bowed out. Give us a sense. How are things like? What's the latest development, and what are we hearing from the Supreme Court about this?
Well, for now, there's no official statement about what the Supreme Court will likely, what line of action the Supreme Court will likely take to address this. Of course, we know very of a fact that 21 judges are the required number of justices in the Supreme Court. But right now, they are 11 man short, as it is. Declears will be leaving the bowing out of the judicial scene on the 27th of October officially. So we're leaving 10 in place. So that will mean more workload for the remaining 10. So Nigerians are still eagerly waiting to see what the action of the president, the Nigerian president or Nigerian government will be with respect to appointing new judges. Of course, we recall recently they had appointed Federal High Court judges and Appeal Court judges. Of course, we know the next one should be Supreme Court judges. Of course, judges from the Appeal Court should be promoted to the next higher level. I guess that should logically be the next line of action from the government, of course. So we are still waiting to see how soon that will be.
The Supreme Court has fixed October 31 to hear two separate appeals seeking to nullify the eligibility of the All Progressives Congress APC in the 2019 governorship election in Imo State to remove Hope Uzodinma as governor. A notice of hearing served on all parties in the appeal was obtained by our correspondent. The People's Democratic Party and Action People's Party are asking the Supreme Court to give effect to its judgment delivered in 2019 disqualifying Uche Nwosu of the APP from the Imo governorship election on grounds of double nomination. They argue that APC cannot have the governorship in person of Uzodinma when the court had already voided the candidacy of Nwosu, who was nominated by APC for the said 2019 governorship poll. The PDP is also asking the Supreme Court to return its candidate, Emeka Ihedioha, as winner of the election, since APC was precluded from sponsoring two candidates in the governorship election. Frank Tete, a RISE analyst and a lawyer, is here to look at the issues. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight.
My pleasure.
It looks a little funny and it looks like something is getting set to be torpedoed.
Well, it's the Supreme Court moment, because the Supreme Court ought to have resolved these issues. There's no reason why the Supreme Court ought to have allowed a matter which was ripe for its pronouncement 3 years ago and left it and allowed an election to hold, despite the fact that there was a major contention that the APC did not have a candidate in the person of Hope Uzodinma. It did not have a candidate because the Supreme Court had ruled in a case before it. I think that was brought by Uche Unadi of the Action People's Alliance, and then which had also, which was supported also by the PDP, that having pronounced that Uche Nwosu was sponsored by Action Alliance and the All Progressives Congress, he was disqualified. There was no fact as to the fact that the APC quickly did primaries or that was acceptable, and then Hope Uzodinma became his candidate. Even if there was a valid primary to that extent, the fact that the Supreme Court had made that pronouncement, APC didn't have a candidate for that election.
Let's just quickly ask a simple question here. Did INEC register Hope Uzodinma as the candidate of APC?
Oh, well, of course, that's why it participated in the 2019 elections. But
so where is the lacuna here?
The big lacuna is the fact that the Supreme Court, just before the election, had said that the APC didn't have a candidate. So the APC could not have had a candidate, whether or not INEC recognized Hope Uzodinma as a candidate. And the applications now before the Supreme Court, by the PDP, and interestingly, including the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, all arguing that if the PDP's own is straightforward, it's likewise that of APC, but I mean, or ABGA, but they're different in the sense that if APC didn't have a candidate in 2019, which means you can't put something on nothing, and which means there will be no governor of APC in Imo State. Now, a PDP is simply saying restore Emeka Ihedioha as governor, while our Progressive Grand Alliance is calling for a fresh election because it expressly asks the court. You know, the interesting thing about the legal process is that it is only when what you ask the court that it gives to you.
They say the court is not a Father Christmas.
Yes. So our Progressive Grand Alliance is saying we want a fresh election because we had argued and pointed to you as a court. But you see, what is really, really terrible here is why, for goodness sake, did the court not make that pronouncement in enforcing its own judgment before the elections?
But you just said that that matter wasn't brought immediately before it. Should they adjudicate in a matter that was not brought before it?
It was indeed brought before it. You see, the politics of the court, and this is what the Supreme Court was faced. Justice Wednesday, or Justice of the Supreme Court, had said the Imo matter, referring to the pronouncement of Uzodinma as governor, will continually haunt the Supreme Court. So I feel a sense of relief that the Supreme Court has had the courage, despite the provisions of Section 285 of the Constitution, which limits the time for hearing. The Supreme Court does now have mustered the courage to now say, no, it wants to hear and put a finality to a pronouncement it had made and an application that has been made before it. It cannot keep it in abeyance. Well, I mean, why would an application be made to the Supreme Court to enforce its judgment before the election, and the Supreme Court refused? But when we see the Supreme Court leadership that has now changed it has not changed. So you know what I mean? There's a new Chief Justice of Nigeria, and you can see a directive that make that application, let that application come for hearing. There is no reason. The Supreme Court must make a pronouncement that you had ruled that APC did not have a candidate that could have gone into an election in 2019. So how come it was allowed and you as a court also pronounced that candidate to be governor? So the conundrum here, the weight here, the burden here is on the Supreme Court. It must discharge justice in the matter.
Don't you empathize with the Supreme Court
of Nigeria
with the myriads of cases that they have and very few on the bench?
I not empathize with them. I sympathize and pity the Supreme Court, particularly on this one. How is it going to resolve it? Yeah. Because it is tied with the constitutional provision. But you see, it may have a way of escape in the sense that it is not asking it to revisit a matter or review a matter or a judgment. It is being asked to simply enforce a judgment it has made. Now, if you look at the inherent
that judgment emanated from the High Court.
And then it went through, though it's a pre-election matter, that went through all the stages of the appellate process.
Yeah.
Now, the Supreme Court has immense powers under Section 6 of the Constitution, granting, and you see, as lawyers, we say, we try to hide it under the inherent powers of the court to do justice. So, the court at this time must now sit down and ask itself. It has made decisions like this in Zamfara. And then it do not say, look,
would it be discretionary here, or would they be talking facts of the law?
No, I think they will be talking law. It's not. You see, the facts are clear. Yeah. The law is this, because whatever pronouncement the Supreme Court has made becomes a law. The law that is on ground now is that the interpretation is that for the purpose of the double domination that Uche Nwosu enjoyed from Action Alliance and APC, nullify the fact that APC didn't have a candidate. So how come as a court you also pronounce the party that ought not to have a candidate as the winner of the election of Imo State governorship election?
What went wrong?
So it's politics of the court, and that is what the court appears to be set to correct. The court will now start asking itself, because I believe the prophecies of late Justice Wednesday has started to haunt the court so quickly by saying, look, the Imo matter will haunt you as a Supreme Court if you don't address it. And in this case, that is maybe the only reason why the court will dare to say, go back and do something that will have actually hurt itself. Where it failed to have made a pronouncement 3 years ago, it has now had the courage to say, no, we must make a pronouncement. And I think that should be more of a credit to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, because this is coming under his watch. The expectation is that Nigerians are watching very closely. On the 31st, perhaps there will be an outright judgment, because the briefs have already been canvassed, they've been submitted and canvassed, arguments have been canvassed. So, and again, I like the fact that the PDP lawyer from the report I read is saying that courts, we are not asking you to review your judgment. We're simply saying, give effect to your judgment. If you say that APC didn't have a candidate, then simply declare that APC doesn't have a candidate to the extent
that there was an error in that judgment then.
Well, there is no error. There is a judgment on the Supreme Court, which is the fact, which is the state of affair now.
Is there anything wrong if, the Supreme Court, with such brilliant minds, great philosophers and the rest, if they find it that, look, there was a miscarriage of justice, what is there to reverse?
You see, I cannot attempt to, prognosticate what the Supreme Court will
what
do.
Their minds,
yes,
what's on their minds.
I may know that, but because of the subjudicial nature of the situation now, I perhaps may not want to. However, look at it. This matter is straightforward in one way. The difficulty is in the resolution. The straightforward nature of the matter is that APC didn't have a candidate when it went into election. Yet the APC, a self-declared candidate, so to speak, won the election in the person of Hope Uzodimma. Now, in that case, and affirmed by the Supreme Court. Now, what would the Supreme Court do? when it now goes back to its earlier judgment before the election, where it affirmed that APC didn't have a candidate. So the Supreme Court it has a very straightforward position in that regard. The difficulty is this: what will now happen? It will restore. It will either think of restoring Meka Hedioha if it stands by its earlier decision, or will it agree with the All Progressive Grand Alliance that a fresh election be conducted in Imo State? Whereas Hopu Uzodinma has been governor for such a long time and is hoping to get re-elected. So this conundrum is an issue of justice, is an issue of politics, or to be resolved. This burdensome resolution is upon the Supreme Court to give to Nigerians, and that's what's making it exciting. And again, the Supreme Court will now see this as a golden opportunity, possibly to redeem itself concerning the Imo issue.
Well, redemption time now. But again, we're no Nostradamus, the man who saw tomorrow. Let's wait for tomorrow to come, and the Supreme Court will do what every Nigerian, he would like to say, is right for the growth of Nigeria's jurisprudence
and democracy.
And democracy. Thank you very much, Frank Tiete, lawyer and Arise analyst.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day, my brothers and sisters, my mommies and my daddies over there. Is your sister again, your doctor, your friend, your girl, Anointed Lady TV. Please, if today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, please do subscribe for me. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will be notified. So in this my channel, I will be bringing up many things to you in which you will benefit from it. I do talk show, I do news, anything you want to talk about, I am into it. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video or each time I'm on live on YouTube, you will be notified. Thank you very much for always being there for me. Please do subscribe for me, and as you do so, God will richly bless you and meet your heart desire. Thank you very much. I love you all. Yes, so my people, as I tell you, I say I go come back. I don't come back, and I welcome back. As soon as I see that video, when I watch, I wanna see them. I want more to leave una comment for the comment section there. More na tell me how una see the matter, whether it good or it bad. If it good, make una let me know. If it still bad, make una still let me know. I need to bring and come give una wey be my people wey dey here. Make una follow me shook mouth put whether it dey good or it dey bad. So if it dey right, una still leave una comment below. If it dey bad, una still leave una comment below. Una remember say everybody gets freedom of speech. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So if you dey watch me, you never subscribe, my brother, sister, I beg you in the name of God, make you hit that red button and turn on the notification bell. So each time I upload any video, you will get notification and you will constantly watch me. Thank you very much. See you again in my other video. I love you all. Bye bye.